Washington a business-friendly state? Small business is about 80% of our economy. How will you help them in particular?
Well, first of all, we keep hearing that Washington is not business-friendly. Let's see. Forbes magazine came out and said that Washington is the 4th friendliest, best state for doing business. The Tax Foundation of America, which is a very conservative group, said that Washington is in the top 10 of the best business climates. Business Week said the best place to get a fresh start is in Kennewick and Richland. U.S. News and World Report said the top 10 housing markets for the next 10 years is right here in Silverdale and Bremerton. U.S. News and World Report also said that we are part of the 7 best states to start a business. And it goes on and on. We are not against business. We are not unfriendly. I think it's really important to note that if the initiative 1098 passes, 375,000 small businesses, that's 80%, will pay no B&O tax. That's business friendly.
Thank you. Peter?
In 1992, I started my own business in Kingston with one laser printer toner cartridge, and I sold it 2 years ago, and I remanufactured them. They distribute thousands of toner cartridges a month, employ 15 people with a sales representative down in Houston, Texas now, and I'm very proud to have done that. Along the way, it was a struggle all the time to pay that B&O tax, to take care of labor and industries, to pay the unemployment tax. The only person we ever laid off was a driver who came back drunk, and we had to let him go. Everybody else in that company has either left to move on to something. I've trained lots of young students right out of high school into manufacturing trades. But my business took care of other businesses, and I heard stories all the time. The overregulation, once again, going back to our kayak facility, it's tough to get started. Once you're up and running, it'll work, but we're making it difficult for people to start.
Thank you. Now, actually, that leads into this next follow-up question from another participant, which is, in the 2000, I'm assuming they're saying the 2010 as opposed to the 2101. But who knows? We may be out there. You know, this might be a time machine, folks. But with that, anyways, let's say the 2010 legislative session. 29 bills imposed taxes or fees totaling, according to this participant, let's see if I get my numbers right, 100,000 million, $1,072,112,669. Someone counted this up, it's only fair. So let's hear them out. So for the 2009-11 biennium, and then totaling $7,094,264,035 in the past 10 years for cost projection. Okay? So, what actions, just if I can get to the crux of this question, what actions did you take to reduce taxes and or fees, or would you take to reduce taxes and fees?
Well, as a Port Commission, we haven't raised any taxes over the last 3 years. We have the opportunity once a year to do that. We need to just look at where the money is going. There's a lot of great, wonderful people working in the state of Washington. I think we have too many of them. Some of them are doing the same job that somebody else just did. And we need to trim the size of the government, and that would trim the need for more taxes. I would trim taxes by taking the B&O tax and quit taxing the gross income and tax the net income of businesses. I think that's a real regressive tax we have going in the state. And you know, if you buy something for $10 and sell it for $4, you shouldn't owe tax on that $4. It's just doesn't work right. And I would start with the B&O, and I would privatize L&I.
Thank you. Sure.
Well, I agree with Pete about the B&O. I was a small business owner for 11 years, and I paid B&O whether I was actually working or not. So I understand about the B&O, and that's why I support the initiative 1098 because 375,000, 80% of all small businesses will not pay B&O. Now, I have to dispute the figure that whoever asked the question. We actually didn't raise taxes at all in 2009, and all of you know that it's one session. 2009, 2010 is one session. So in 2009, we didn't raise any taxes. We cut $9 billion out of the budget. That's without raising any taxes. For every $1 we've raised in the last 2 years, we've cut $4.50. It is difficult to run government, but we tried not to raise the taxes. And last year we raised $724 million, which were not general taxes.
Thank you. And Sherry, staying with you on the question. Now, I know if I don't pay my taxes, I'll join these people. Apparently, we have 37,000 incarcerated or under community supervision folks in Washington State. A recent article, ACLU estimates a cost per inmate of $24,000 for younger inmates to $72,000 for an elderly inmate, and 1 in 11 are serving life sentences. So that's the context. The question is, what major steps would you take to reduce this cost, such as legalization of marijuana or sunset of life sentence after a doctor's certificate of health deterioration to quality or long-term care?
Actually, I did pass a law 2 years ago that said if somebody was dying of cancer or was otherwise physically impaired, that the Department of Corrections could release them under supervision to nursing homes or the like. So that's already been taken care of. As far as the legalization of marijuana, I believe that marijuana should either be legalized or decriminalized. And I make no apologies for that. We have spent so much money on the war on drugs that we can't fund education fully and we can't fund healthcare fully. This is an interesting statistic. Across the country last year alone, 157,000 arrests were made for simple possession. Now, think about the prosecutors, the defenders, the court, the judges, the jails. That is a lot of money. And we could put that into education and mentoring young children so they wouldn't do drugs. I think that's very important.
Thank you. Same question, Peter.
I read the bill that was introduced to legalize marijuana, and what I found in it was a lot of new bureaucratic missions that needed to happen inside the liquor enforcement agency, and it would have created 2 or 3 levels of ways to keep the street marijuana off the streets and make sure that you went to the liquor stores and bought it. I don't think that's the right approach. If the bill was introduced to try and generate tax revenues, it wasn't going to work, and inside of the bill it targeted any profit made towards rehabilitation of people that have been addicted to drugs and alcohol. As far as the jails go, I think that it's a little bit lavish and that we offer a little bit too much health care for the criminals. We kind of quit making jails a comfortable place to return to, because that's the only place that you get 3 squares a day and a nice place to sleep.
Thank you, Peter. So now, wanting to speed things up a little bit, the question to you is, would you support another chance to have NASCAR? Sorry about that. I couldn't resist.
I would. I've lived in South and North Carolina and Florida, and I've seen in Daytona Beach as well, and I've seen the commerce that NASCAR brings to a community. If the funding formula was right and we could bring these jobs and these events to this side of Puget Sound, I think NASCAR would be a good addition to the kind of things that draw people to the state of Washington. When we get these motorhomes and RVs coming across the border from Idaho and Oregon and down from Canada with some money to spend, it creates jobs in our community, and it's good for the state of Washington. I would welcome the opportunity to revisit that and explore. The way that we fund it has to be done correctly, but I would certainly look at doing that one more time. Thank you.
NASCAR, what a wonderful subject. I actually opposed it and worked very hard with the county commissioners and other people in the 23rd legislative district who were vehemently opposed to NASCAR, and I represent them. The reason they were so much against it was because of the ferry traffic trying to get home at night during a race weekend. And I'm not against NASCAR. Basically, I was raised in Florida. I've been to Talladega, I've been to Daytona, I've been all over. And I understand NASCAR. We had 2 sites that I would have supported completely. And that was in Lewis County, which had a pit already that was ready for NASCAR, and it was right close to I-5. And then the other was in Moses Lake. But NASCAR would not even think about that. And I have to tell you, NASCAR is losing money right now because people don't have the money to go. And so economically, this county would have been stuck with the taxes that would have not been brought in.